Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, beginning at 1 p.m. Now, that's Central Time. We love being with you every single day. You can find us on the radio at iacradio.media, and we are your brand new Fox News affiliates. And thanks, Dave, for making that happen. Absolutely. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast at thenewscasters.com. This is the Newscaster Studio. And I keep mentioning this to Ann. Ann needs her own podcast. And you could have this podcast, Ann, and you can even have it on IC Radio. We'll do the MP3, whatever we need to do, because you can say whatever you want to say on our station. We love the truth here. And it's just wonderful. Ann is with Alabama Legislative Watchdogs, and I'm going to tell you, she's my go-to person when it comes to anything that's happening in the world with politics or even in the state of Alabama. Ann, thank you so much, sister, for being on the show with me.
Oh, you're welcome. I always love being here with you, Donna. We always have a good time.
We do. And I don't use that word sister lightly. I mean, I don't. so anyway, I feel like we're probably sisters in some, I don't either our mother or dad, one of them had an affair, and we've got to be related some way.
Right. Somewhere down the line, we have the same blood.
Gotta be. Man, there's so many things going on. I feel I don't even have to dig for info anymore on this show. I just don't. It just comes right to me. I mean,
yeah.
What do you want to start talking about? There's plenty.
Well, okay. I was watching the video. Actually, I was watching Fox News, where Obama had to leave Biden off the stage because he was just standing there while everybody clapped for him. And I guess he thought, well, okay, I'll just stand here and soak this up a little bit longer, because people, there's 500 people outside protesting and calling me Genocide Joe. So Obama finally got tired of standing there and grabbed his hand. But I was watching Obama's face, and he had his fist that he wasn't holding Biden with clenched, and you could see his jaw ticking. You know how men get when oh yeah, like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? But everybody who's propping this man up needs to be charged with
elder abuse.
Elder abuse. It is awful. So his ratings are 38%. So he came out with, let's make 1 million or 2 million illegals legal. Let's bring back some of the DACA stuff. This past week, he's trying to give everybody something so they'll vote for him. So if you are here illegally, but you're married to an American citizen and you've been here at least a year, you can apply for a green card that will lead you on to a track for citizenship. Estimated 1 million, but you know how the government is. It would probably be more like 2 or 3 million that they would make legal. So that was one thing. Of course, they came out with paying off the student loans, which again, Texas took it right straight to the court, and the court stopped it. He's come out with making marijuana federally legal, which right now is still illegal. And dollars in mortgage. They have new housing programs, which kind of mirror what happened in 2008, 2009, when they crashed the system, and where they're basically giving these illegals a free house, an apartment, somewhere to live. And it's estimated that 60 to 70% of them will either go into foreclosure. Then they have new foreclosure rules where they can't get them out. that the government says you can't foreclose on this property. So here we are again, faced with Biden giving away everything the hardworking middle-class Americans are struggling just to buy groceries. Yet if you're here illegally, the government's going to take care of you.
Let me just throw something in there at you. You know, my daughter-in-law's from Russia. No one gets more upset about this illegal stuff than my daughter-in-law, who came here the right way, by the way, when she was 9 years old. And this really upsets her. You know, when they're given things, you know, when you can, you know, you can vote. She had to go through several processes to even become an American citizen.
Yes, it's not an easy thing. And I've taken the citizenship test that's 100 questions. And I think I missed 2, but you have to remember I've had 3 courses, Hillsdale, on the Constitution. So, you know, I know a lot, and I still miss 2. And they have to pass that. They have to make sure that they know the answers to all of our founding fathers, Federalist Papers. It's not an easy test. And here in Alabama, it's part of our citizenship test, our civics test, to be able to graduate. But you can take it as many times as you want to until you pass it. So it's not like trying to become a citizen where I think they've got maybe 2 or 3 times they can take it. Our kids get to take it as many times as they need to. And they're already citizens and they're already being taught all this, but they don't know. So, yeah, it's not easy to become a citizen legally. But Biden and the Democrats won't. They're talking 8 to 10 million. It's probably more like 12 to 15.
I would say, or maybe even more than that. Let me ask you a question too, and this is pertaining to the debate, the upcoming debate. Do you think there's actually going to be a debate? Do you think there's going to be one?
No, there's not going to be a debate because they cut the microphones off while the other person is answering, and the questions are going to be different. It's not like they're going to each answer the same question. I heard somebody on the news the other day mention they didn't know how Biden was going to be able to stand for 90 minutes. Well, they're not going to be standing. They're going to be sitting at a table. My thing is just let Biden ramble. And Trump doesn't need to do anything except answer the questions about the great job he did for the 4 years he was in office, bringing America back to prosperity and making us the best country in the world. And just let Biden ramble. Nobody believes that Biden can match Trump mentally. Nobody. I don't care if you're the biggest Democrat donor there is. You cannot believe that Biden is better than Trump mentally.
There's no way. There is no way. But my whole question to you is something magically going to happen because this guy's getting like worse every single day. Is something going to happen where there just won't be a debate?
Okay, they've taken him off the world stage until the 27th. And I'm sure they're going to shoot him up with dopamine and grill him. And he's going to get 10 hours a day rest because that's what he has to have in order to even function in the world. And, you know, he went to the G7 conference. They said he didn't even make the dinner that night because he had gotten so confused and didn't have a clue of where he was. There's 5 instances in the past 2 weeks of him just wandering off, looking like he didn't know where he was, what he was doing, slurring his words, not making a bit of sense. So they're going to have to do some serious doping him up in order to get him on the stage. But I think they have to if they are going to keep Biden as their nominee.
Yeah, but
They
here's
have
what
to.
they do though. But what they do, like with the presidential address, they shot him up with something, and it made
Yeah.
him. I don't know what the heck they used on him, but he was getting really aggressive. I mean, like
Yes.
weird aggressive, and
Mhm.
whatever. I think it had some kind of an after effect with him. I mean, it was just. So let me ask you another question, because all dictators, they have doubles, all dictators, and we're in that world right now in the United States. We're in dictatorship right now. What's the possibility of them, because they did it with Hillary Clinton? You remember when Hillary Clinton fainted and passed out or something, and then they took her to Chelsea's apartment, and all the women in the world were saying, I want to go to Chelsea's apartment, because Hillary comes back looking 20 pounds lighter and 20 years younger. That was not Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
What are the possibilities they'll try to pull that off?
I have heard rumors that there is a double, but how are you going to prove that? I mean, what are you going to do? Have they? I don't know. I just know that it's possible, and that we have the pharmaceuticals to pump him up, dopamine, speed, and if he gets enough rest before they do that, it's kind of like that movie that what's the comedian's name? Patch Adams, where they gave the people in the mental institutions that drug, but when they gave it to them, it only lasted X amount of time,
Yeah.
and then they
Robin
went back.
Williams.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes they came back worse than when they were before they gave them that drug. And I think that's what we're seeing. I really do, because we do have the drugs to do that.
All right, here's $1 million question to you. Okay.
Okay.
Why are they doing this? Why don't you just say, sit down, Grandpa, you can't handle it anymore, and just parade somebody else around? I mean, why does it have to be him?
Excuse me. Why? Who's the vice president?
I surrender. I surrender. Now this is
Okay.
another thing they've done to their own self. Okay, so you got her. You got
Yep.
to parade her because she's the first black woman now. You can't take her
Yep.
off the stage.
Well, she won't be there when they go to Chicago. Well, I think it's Chicago. They're going back to Chicago. My thinking is that they're going to replace him on the ticket. It won't be her. And they're going to replace her on the ticket during the convention. Yeah. That there will be an uprising, and they'll go through the whole thing of, well, we had some rogue Democrats take over the convention and blah, 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 blah. But I guarantee you it's been planned. They cannot afford her to be on the ticket again. And they can't afford him to be president. Now, that's my thinking, and that's the thinking of some other pundits that I've listened to. But with the Democrat Party, you just don't know what those crazy people.
You don't know. And I think and it could be this, they want him to have the debate because he's going to screw up. I mean, he's just gonna, and that could be their way. Well, I guess he does have dementia, or they'll pretend he died or something. I mean, something big will come up.
Right.
You know how that goes.
So,
and that's just how they do things.
Yeah. They never do anything right out front. It always has to be a big production, just like, impeaching Trump 3 times. That's ridiculous. Having a trial in New York where they know there's no way on earth he's going to get a fair trial. Having a trial in Atlanta, Fulton County, where they know he's not going to get a fair trial because Soros's DAs are in those cities. And they didn't care what. They had to lie, cheat, steal. The only reason that Trump has a chance to have this conviction overturned in New York is because a stupid stupid court worker whose cousin was on the jury, which right then the cousin should have been excused.
Uh-huh.
The cousin was on the jury, told the court worker that 3 days before the vote was taken, Trump was going to get convicted. And he put it on his Facebook. I mean, how stupid are you? That's a mistrial. That's an overturning of that verdict. That means Trump is not a felon. And there's no way around that.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. Okay, let's pretend you're running for president of the United States, okay? And I'm your running mate. Let's pretend we're running. Okay, and you and
that ought to be fun.
We'd stay in trouble all the time. Somebody would assassinate both of us at the same time.
Yep.
But let's just pretend we're riding along that little happy road right there, and we're in trouble with everybody, and so they're gonna lock us up and put us in jail.
That's possible.
Okay, so which would be your probability? Okay, so let's just say immediately, just right after Trump started getting all these donations, the website went down. It couldn't handle the load of people. Had you rather have, say, 5 million people giving $2, or had you rather have a couple of billionaires giving you $1 million? Which would you rather?
There's no question that the people of America came out and supported Trump. And they even said, even if you put him in jail, we're voting for him. He'll be elected. If they put him in jail, he'll be elected president. Biden will have a prayer, or whomever they choose to put on that ticket. They will not be elected unless they cheat. And Saturday I went to an event, and George Berry and Bob Roush had sent one of the ladies to do their presentation. And although I've seen it twice from both of them, it really drives home the fact that they have 14 places on our election process. During our election process, the machines, the what they call credit lifting, putting people who names in the voter rolls that are not real. There are 14 different ways they can affect the vote and change the numbers. Now, if that doesn't scare the heck out of you, nothing will. So we had the first time Trump beat Clinton. The reason Clinton was so angry that she didn't win is because the fix was in. But Trump broke the algorithm. There were so many Trump votes that they did not recognize that they had set the numbers for, and it exceeded the algorithm. And therefore he was elected. And that's why Clinton was beside herself.
She just knew she was going to be the queen. She just knew it.
The fix was in. Well, they adjusted that in 20 to make doggone sure. And even though they had more votes than they had in 16, they adjusted it to allow for any increase. You know, you can program it to allow for any increase that you want to. Those machines are programmed. Those machines need to go. We need to go back to paper, ballot, and count. And it can be done a whole lot cheaper than having those machines that can rig an election.
Because that costs a lot of money to use those stupid machines. And this is another thing. Okay, now with computers, and let me tell you, what we have set up is nothing anywhere near like a huge company, because we're just a small mom and pop. How come I can put something into our accounting system and have an immediate result? Why can't we vote using those machines? Why is it late in night before you know the answer? I don't understand why it takes so long. It should be automated. It goes into a hub somewhere, and you should know within 10 minutes after they close the doors.
Right. Well, that's because, there's a list. There's a list. There's a list in Alabama of candidates that are going to win.
Mhm.
And if you look at the 22 election, 65-35 was the going number for those candidates that were chosen to win.
Mhm.
So in order to make sure that it turns out like that, they can't be done that way. It
Mhm.
has to have those 14 different places during the process that they can fix the numbers.
Mhm.
So if you go back to the 22 election and you look at Alabama and you look at the 65-30 or 65-35, 66-34, whatever, right in that area, you can find out who was on the list. And
Mhm.
we all know it exists.
Yes,
They are
we
not
all
fooling.
do know.
They are not fooling us. No
Uh-huh.
matter who you are that's doing the list, you ain't fooling.
Well, let me tell you what Phil and I are going to do. I had an occurrence. I worked at the polling place, and I told
Oh,
you about I had an incident with a crazy family member who came in and showed her rear end, and so that was a lot of fun. So what we've decided we're going to do, we're just going to do mail-in ballot. Now, how safe is the mail-in ballot? We've already got the application. We just haven't filled it out and sent it in yet.
what county are you in?
DeKalb.
Who is your probate judge? Is she a Democrat?
He.
Is he a Democrat?
Yeah. No. He's a Republican.
Okay. I don't like early voting. I don't like mail-in ballots. I think there should be one day election like there has been for generation after generation until these liberals got into office and figured out how 2 months worth of voting and these machines and mail-in voting, and it's not absentee voting, it's mail-in voting. They figured out that's how you can cheat. That's how you can win an election. That's how you can pump up the line of credit, and it's called line of credit for certain candidates. I don't, even when I was in Florida or Texas with Ted Cruz on election day, I voted before I left. I worried about that the entire time I was gone, just thinking, is my vote going to count? Because I know it'll count if I go in and do it myself and put it in the machine.
Are
Now,
you sure? Because I don't feel
my
confident
vote,
in that either.
my vote is counted. That doesn't mean there's going to be 500 other votes that are going to be put in illegally, but at least my vote was put in there. But the only surefire way is to go back to paper ballots and counting in the precinct that night. People don't realize you only have like 3,500 people registered in a certain precinct to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And what, maybe 30-40% actually vote. So you're not looking but at like 1,000, 1,500 ballots that you're going to actually have to count. And it would be easy. We used to do it and we always knew who won before the night, before midnight.
Uh-huh.
Now it takes days and we have the electronic.
You made my whole point. Wasn't this supposed to make it easier? It seems
Well,
like
it hasn't. No,
Yeah.
it's not easier. It's not easier. All these machines are made in China. Their motherboards come from China.
That should be
They
enough.
have found chips no bigger than the tip of a pencil on these motherboards that actually broadcast what is being sent through that computer and that tabulator. So don't tell me that they're not accessible from outside, because they are, because you have no idea what's in those machines. Don't tell me they're not, because I know you're lying, or maybe you don't know you're lying, but I know you are either ignorant or you're lying. So
That's
I'm
true.
sorry.
That's true. But have we reached the point of no return? I mean, it's been done now. How many elections? I mean,
Since 2008. 2008.
But
What
but can
happened
you?
in 2008?
But if we keep doing, if Republicans keep doing things the same way, how are we going to have another outcome? I mean, they got us beat in that now. They got it. They got us.
Paper ballots go from county to county. So 2 counties in Alabama have already given up their machines because of George Berry and Bob Ralph and how they presented how much money it would save and how by hand counting ballots you get a fair and free election. Because if you take away our elections from we the people, we are no longer free. Mm-hmm. That is the sign of a free country, is when you have fair and free elections. We don't have that right now because it can be controlled 14 different ways. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the bandwagon for get rid of these machines. We will never have an election that we the people are sure of until the machines are gone.
But I'll tell you something I thought was comical. My grandmother, for years, I never knew her not being there on election day helping with the ballots. I just don't remember that ever. And I remember her saying, it was 9:30 before we got home. And, they didn't have everything done. I mean, it was cleaner. It was just a much cleaner. She wouldn't have liked this. Now, she passed away the year 2002. Yeah. And she worked on up almost until she died. I mean, that was her thing, going and helping out with the election, you know. Right. But I remember her saying, because nobody could go home now until everything was counted. And to her, it was a big deal to say 9:30 before we got home.
Well, she probably was in one of those smaller precincts that didn't have 800-900 people, you know. Mm-hmm. But in Hoover, we had one precinct that was 4,000 people. And I called John Merrill after standing in line for 2 hours to vote. And I said, this precinct is too big. You have to split it. Mm-hmm. So the next election, he divided it into 2. So that makes 2,000. I mean, that's 100% of voting for 2,000. That just doesn't happen.
And that's overwhelming to the people who work there, too. The people who are working the polls, that's overwhelming.
So, I mean, we get what, 25, 30, 40% of people vote, even if it's presidential. That's not too many to just sit down and hand count and get it done by 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. I don't see the downside. I only see the good side of going back to paper ballots.
I'm just judging what my grandmother always said.
Right.
You know, and it was, I mean, she never had any qualms. She would just act like, you know, well, I'll be late coming home, Scott, because, it'll probably be 9 or 10 maybe before it was, we got to get those things counted before we leave. And Alabama's only one of 2 states that doesn't post audit after an election. They just take those boxes and throw them in a jail cell somewhere behind bars, and you can't see them. The little yellow sheet that's on top, or pink sheet, or whatever color they're using now, doesn't even have to match what the machine says. Nobody does anything if they don't match. Mm-hmm. Well, that's absolutely ridiculous. But we tried to pass an audit bill this past time, and they watered it down so much that, the probate judge can choose one precinct out of the entire county. Well, what's that going to prove? Nothing. Audit the entire county, and then you can tell if everything's going like it's supposed to. So, and we're going to have to go into a commercial break. I really didn't care for Bush. I voted for Ross Perot the next time around.
I did too.
But I voted Reagan, and
I voted.
favorite cups right there. Dude, let's go to a
Well,
commercial.
you know, Bush being head of the CIA was never a good thing.
I wasn't into Daddy Bush.
Mm-mm.
Because he was talking about a few things even back then in the 1980s that just didn't sound right to me. And of course, Mother voted for Bush, and Dad voted for Clinton. And I didn't like either one of them. But anyway, I voted for Ross Perot. I can live with myself.
I did too.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to a break. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching us every day, and Monday through Friday. You can even watch us on Facebook when I'm not kicked off, Twitter, and X now, and YouTube. I get kicked off there sometimes as well. But anyway, you can find us on most of the social media pages. We're on MeWe, so you can always find the shows there as well. And I always love having Ann Eubank with me. Ann is my go-to person for everything. I mean, you really are, Ann. And I mentioned that to other people all the time. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to be interviewing Terry LaPointe and Julia Cleland.
I love Terry. Oh, they are fantastic ladies.
I can't wait. They're going to come to the Gadsden Mall, where we go on Tuesday. So they'll be there tomorrow. Julia was so funny. She said, I don't have enough to say. And I said, what? Since when do you not have enough to say? I said, I'm about to pass out here. I did put her in contact with Marianne Cole. She's looking for somebody to do something, in DeKalb County. And I just told her, I said, I don't have time, man. I'm, got too many personal things going on along with the business.
You tell her I said the day Julia Cleland doesn't have something to say, I want to know about it because somebody is, you know what, frozen over.
She
She
must
can
have passed
out-talk.
she must have passed to the great beyond if she can't talk. I mean, I'm
That's the
just telling
truth.
you. Well, when she said that, I just went, I started just uncontrollably laughing. And so she said, "You're laughing." And I said, "Well, yes, I'm laughing. I mean, you'll have plenty to say." I said, "I can't wait. I can't wait to get them on tomorrow too." So anyway, they know we're friends. You and I are friends. They said to tell you hello.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew that we were going to be talking today. So we're
Yeah,
talking about
Julia called me when I was in the Bahamas. And I answered the phone because I was like, "What's wrong, Julia? I'm in the Bahamas." "Oh, no. I'll wait till you get back." I said, "You called me. What's wrong?" And she went, I said, "Okay, I'll do it when I get back."
she's a trip. But you know what? I love that passion.
Yeah.
And you've got that too, because their passion's been taken away from them. That they're following the wrong crowd, and if you listen to an alarmist, if you listen to these Democrats, I mean, they're going to take your dreams away from you. You'll think you can't accomplish anything.
Yeah, it's fear of not being accepted in your community. We must cooperate. I say this every time I'm on here. It's the crowd of you must cooperate. You must not rock the boat. If you rock the boat, you will pay the price. And until we remember as Americans that we don't have fear when it comes to standing up for our rights and our freedoms, or else they will take them away from us.
Absolutely. Okay, I got to ask you on the Trump side, who's going to be his VP? Who's going to be the VP?
Well, the odds-on favorite are Senator Tim Scott. That's what I keep hearing. Mm-hmm. That's not my favorite, but he's better than Rubio. And Rubio was up there on the list. At least
something. I'm sorry, I can't get this out of my head. I can't get it out of my head. Trump calling him Little Rubio. I just get, would he forget? I mean, with Trump getting, I'm going to introduce you my VP, Little Rubio. I mean, Rubio.
I want to tell you what I can't get out of my head. Rubio was a Chippendale in Florida when he was young.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know. Rubio?
And that's what oh, yes.
I'm not saying that. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it.
Hey, you go Google it and look at the pictures. Go look at the pictures. You can Google Rubio Chippendale and they will come up.
I got to see.
Yeah. So
okay. Are you you got me started now. Okay.
So Trump went to talk to Glenn Youngkin from Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And even though he's not the highest on the list for media, Glenn Youngkin would probably be one of the best choices. Simply because A, he's moderate, B, he's from Virginia, and he would pull in those independents that are so afraid at Trump's, off on the right-wing radical stuff. Youngkin would be an excellent choice. Burgum, who actually ran for president, stood on the stage once or twice, I think, from North Dakota. Mm-hmm. I'm not fond of him, but to have, the thing you choose a vice president for is to bring along the states that gentleman would represent. So he being in the Northwest, Central West, North Dakota, South Dakota, all of the Idahos, all of those out there. I like Christy Nome as my favorite. She's got the ability. She's got the fire. Carrie Lake from Arizona. I'm not sure he would choose her because she's a fighter, and they did the same thing to her that they did to him. So I think Tim Scott or Youngkin would be the two best choices, but there's a lot out there that he could choose from.
Yeah, but I kind of think he's going to choose somebody. I mean, you know how he is. You can't predict Trump. I mean, there's no way. Could he pull a businessman, a very successful businessman or a woman? He's not going to give a rip whether it's a man or a woman. So, because he's almost the best person. So, do you think he could? Maybe somebody we don't even know yet.
Let me tell you why that won't happen, in my opinion, and it's my opinion. Trump was a businessman. He went into the White House as a businessman and didn't understand the deep state government power.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to find somebody to go with him that understands the dynamics and that has the ability to do what's necessary and the knowledge of what would need to be done, instead of taking a businessman in there who's never really had to delve deep into how bad government is. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it won't be this.
Great point. Yeah,
he learned that the first time.
Yeah, but he succeeded, man. I'm talking like record. Okay, what do you think about this? Okay, so Trump says, I'm going to go in like a dictator, and he said something else. He was kidding. He didn't. I mean, the news media ran with it like something crazy, and he said, let's see, how was it he put it? He said, success is the best. Revenge. Somebody asked him if he was going to go in with revenge, and he said, yeah. And then but they ran with it before that. They didn't play the whole video.
Of course not.
So what he said was, yeah, success is the best revenge. That's what he said.
Right.
Success is the best revenge. I think he'll want some of these morons to pay for what they did, but I think he wants to get everything turned around first. I think that'll be his first deal.
His first deal is going to go in with Heritage's 2025 book, Project 2025. And I have a copy of it, and it's about this, where are you? This thick. It's about 800 or 900 pages of what should be done with each department. And of course, I read the education part, which means they're going to get rid of the Department of Education, which he promised the first time, but they kept him so busy with being impeached that he couldn't get that done. But with what Alabama is doing and the rest of the nation is doing with this Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act and Working for Alabama Act here in Alabama, they have to get rid of the Department of Education, because that's who and what is driving it. The Department of Education and the Department of Labor will be combined so that education will be all about getting a job and not being educated. This new program in Alabama is the worst thing I have ever seen. It's Socialism 101, where there will be 3 tracks for your child coming out of school. 1, for those who have the ability to go to college. 2, for those who will have the ability to go to a trade school, such as electrician, plumber, whatever trades, automobile mechanic. But there's a 3rd pathway, and that's what they call it, the pathway diploma that was passed in the Alabama legislature, where you will actually go to work for a specific employer. They will train you to do whatever job, and that's what you will be doing, is that specific job, because you don't have the ability, or what they deem the ability, to go out and into the trades or go to college. So it's a 3-level. And this program specifically is designed for low income prisoners coming out of jail, illegals, adult people who have not had the ability to get their own job. They passed a bill to give these employers housing credits to build multifamily, low-income housing that the employer will own. And then they passed a Child Credit Act where these employers are going to build child care centers and after-school centers for these people who have children.
All right, now you're about to get me started on something. I've got to say it. I've got to say it.
Go ahead.
I think every town and every city in the United States is, I think they're all involved in it. I think every single town, because it's right here too,
yes,
is a sanctuary city or town.
Yes.
And let me tell you why. Because in my land right here, we've got 38 acres of land right here. Right here on the side, there's a bunch of trailers and small houses and what have you. And then on 75, with some land that adjoins our land, there are little trailers. It's all been cleared off. And a whole bunch of little trailers are coming in over there. And so, I take this issue. I take this issue with our mayor here. Okay, so I want to know why we have a population of a little bit over 900 in the town I'm in, but we have over 1,200 kids registered in school.
Wow.
I know we got Common Core. I know we got that, but that math does not add up to me because think about this. Okay, you got 1,200 kids in a school. There's over 1,200, but you got 1,200 kids in school. I would think each one of those 1,200 kids have at least one parent. At least one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 24. Okay, now a lot of us like to, multiply, if you know what I mean. And they got more than one kid. So let's just say there's 3 in the family, okay? There's the kid in school, there's a sibling, and there's just one parent. I'm making it the lowest common denominator. Now, this is math from back in my olden days.
Right.
All right, so 1,200 times 3 is 3,600. Shouldn't we have a population of 3,600 instead of 900?
Well, are they counting people eligible to vote? Are they counting children? I mean, where did that 900 come from?
The U.S. Census Bureau.
Well, somebody didn't fill out the census report then. So then that could be a possibility, especially if they're all illegal.
Well, we got a bunch of folks that don't speak English right here in this town.
Yeah. We're going to have sanctuary cities, 15-minute cities where public transportation communities are all going to be in these little pods. We have Hunger Games, Alabama.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Most of what they're doing right now is unconstitutional because the Constitution of Alabama doesn't allow anything. The bill passed in 2012 says that you cannot implement any program that comes from the United Nations Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, or Agenda 2050. But everything they're doing comes straight from the United Nations agendas into the federal government, where Obama in 2014 passed the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, and Alabama divided our state up into 7 districts in 2016. Now, what was the name of the areas that was in Hunger Games? Districts. And in each district, they had a specific job to do. They had a specific, one was coal, one was water, one was agriculture. Each of these districts has a different economic driver in Alabama. Each of these districts will give these employers money to house these employees and give them child care. And they're going to be called pathway workers.
And their
That's
children,
my-
their children are going to be indoctrinated by the
Yes.
child care stuff. Yeah.
Well, Alabama education's already indoctrinated
done it.
them
Yeah.
as fast as they can do it. I talked with our esteemed legislator, Danny Garrett, Saturday at Mark meeting, and I tried to explain to him that because he's on the Innovate Alabama board, that public-private corporations are unconstitutional in Alabama. And the reason they wanted to pass the big law that got stopped by a Democrat, God love him, by asking, whoa, what does this bill do? This is a step too far. It had eminent domain in it where they can take your land. A public-private corporation employer can take your land for the benefit of a private company. That, my dear friends, is unconstitutional. So without that
anybody. So, okay, I know it is, but when has that stopped them? That's never stopped them before.
Well, what they want to do, they have to have this constitutional amendment that did not get out of the legislature this time. But believe me, they'll bring it back. And if they have a special session, they'll bring it back. And when they do, that's not just Marxist. That's not just socialist. That, my friends, is fascism. And we have to stop it. And the only way we're going to stop it is to stop those constitutional amendments and then elect people that are not in the legislature this time. We have to throw the bums out because there's not but 5 people in the legislature that we can count on to represent we the people. The rest of them represent themselves, BCA, Business Council of Alabama, Alabama Power, Region Bank, all of the big guys that are giving them money, the Porch Creek Indians. This has to stop because without freedom of private property and private enterprise, capitalism is dead. It is replaced by socialism, fascism, and Marxism. And this is not capitalism.
Yeah, but we've seen this coming because, okay, and you and I were talking about television commercials where they show some guy on there and he says, we buy houses, we buy ugly houses. If you're in foreclosure or you just don't want the house anymore, we'll buy it. Of course, you probably have to give it to them, I would think. But anyway, practically give it to them. There's a reason for all of that. There's a reason why there's such a grab up now of houses. There's a reason somebody came by here wanting our house with 38 acres. And then they're building, I've told you about acreage just on the other side. Is our land is facing the south, right on the west part of our land, you can see a bunch of trailers that have been put out there. And then, like I said, between our land and Highway 75, you can see more. They're putting more. I'm just noticing all these little houses and little trailers that are being put up in this area right here and in other areas as I travel.
So what is your economic driver in DeKalb? Are you close enough? Are you close enough to the Blount County development that's going to bring in something?
Yeah.
How far away is that?
And 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, that's what you need to keep your eye on is who is developing that Blount County property and what they're going to put there, because guarantee you that's what they're setting up for. And until the people say stop, this is not private enterprise. This is not private property. When BlackRock comes in here and buys all of the houses in and then rinse them all out. You will own nothing and be happy about it is the World Economic Forum's favorite comment. You will own nothing and be happy about it. And that's where we're headed. And we have to stop working for Alabama. Have to. We have to vote no on every single constitutional amendment, because what they're doing is against the Constitution of Alabama. And they know it. And they still continue to do it because the federal government is paying for it 100% from Obama's Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It's bad, people. Bad.
I mean, no doubt. Absolutely no doubt whatsoever. It's just that if people will just open their eyes, if you'll open your eyes, you'll notice little things happening in your community, and you have to question it. And people don't question it. They just go on with blinders, just like this. They don't want to see what's going on, but you've got to. You have to.
You must cooperate. You cannot rock the boat. You must go. What's wrong with you? You do not want progress in our county?
That's not
everybody
progress.
Everybody needs a job. Who is everybody, people?
Everybody needs to be a slave. And what you mean, what the real word is, everybody needs to be a slave. That's what it is.
That's right. You will become part of the Hunger Games, Alabama. So that's what it is.
I've got about a minute left in this segment. What would you like to say before you go, Ann? There's so many more things we could be talking about.
I'm going to be all over the state in the next 2 weeks. I'm going down south to Fairhope to talk to people about what I've just talked about. I'm going to be in Tuscaloosa. I'm going to be in Priceville Friday night, the 21st, at Frederick's Outdoors, talking about this, because the more people we educate that our legislators are selling us down the river, and we must A, stop this, and B, unelect them, kick the bums out. That's what we got to do. We cannot continue to be nice while they continue to destroy we the people, because that's what they're doing.
Well, this is what I want everybody to think about. Okay, the guys, everybody should have listened to Ann years ago when she was talking about Common Core. Okay?
Yep.
Nobody listened. Everybody just turned their, well, it doesn't pertain to me, but it does pertain to you. Whether you have kids or grandkids or whatever, you have neighbors. Wouldn't you like to know your neighbors are educated? Okay, so listen to Ann when she comes to your area, please. Okay, our whole lives depend on this, so please listen to her. How can folks get in contact with you, Ann?
I'm alabamalegislative.org. Yep. And Eubank at bellsouth.net. I'm on Facebook. You can message me, text me. I am easy to find. So.
And if you can't find her that way, I've got her number on speed dial. So just get in contact with me, and I'll make sure she gets in contact with you. Everybody, thank you so much for watching this.
Hey, I'll come talk to anybody for free. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely. You know she will. Let me know next time you're going to be in my area, okay?
Okay.
Let me know. Okay. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome, awesome rest of the day. You take care.